Wow.
How diddly do
Hi, guys.
is you, Judy?
It's dark and we are like
Loving it.
Like a dark right now.
Because we don't look old.
We look like a Isa.
We look like ass whites.
Yeah, look at us. What did you delete for?
I didn't want that video on there.
Mm.
I don't want that one on there either.
Which?
The other one what I did for the rest.
Oh, okay. So how's everybody? Hiya, Pusada. Love you both. Thank you so much, Pusada. Welcome, welcome.
How
Please
diddly
share and
do
like.
you today?
Yes.
How
Please share
diddly
and like.
diddly diddly do are you?
Yeah. Kind of hot. Hold on, you just got this last night.
I've been stressed. We went last night actually. It was like
Oh,
yesterday
don't
morning.
ever start. You just have it last night.
Get dressed.
So how many times you have been doing
Hi, Heaven.
You went downstairs how many times?
Once, actually, last night.
Then why did it finish?
Because I was stressed yesterday.
Stress of what?
No beds.
Oh,
But I'm moving away while I have a cigarette because the missus don't like the smoky. Don't you, darling?
yeah.
So, you women chat between yourselves.
Yes. So how was everybody? What was the background on this? Is that what it is over there?
Huh?
Is that the black background? What is that for?
That was what I started off, is it not?
Okay. So I never switch up on you, lol. Who you calling woman? Hi everybody, Punches, Seven, Posadas.
Calling you a woman, Dan.
So your ass is wet. Okay. Sitting in here. These are
It's
wet.
hot. What do you expect?
Actually,
from head to tip.
that's a really nice short. We can find that like that anymore. That's good for you. Are you gonna bring that? Huh? Are you gonna bring that?
Yeah, we don't know.
I wish we
Don't
could.
really have anything.
Yeah, I wish
The
we
only
get
time I'll be
another
wearing
one.
shorts is if I'm inside the house.
So guys, it's so dark and it's so dark in this one because we have no light. So that's fine. We're gonna have a call like we're gonna try a different version for being dark right now with this computer because it's old. So
We'll be getting people on stream in a bit.
so how are you guys doing? It's so hot right now. I wish we have the swimming pool. I can go jump over there in the swimming
Yeah,
pool
well,
right.
I can't have the swimming pool.
Right away.
Freaking idiot down there.
I know we have the old one, guys, that you put the air on it and it's inflatable. And you know what happened? We took the water off, and then all of a sudden in the morning, oh no, in the morning when we get up in the morning and see it, dun, 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 dun. What happened was, oh, Card Posada, thank you so much for the donation so early.
What?
Super chat, thank you so much. Thank you. That was sweet of you.
Awesome sauce, guys.
Awesome,
Thanks
so awesome. So, you know what happened was, is like when we wake up, Oh, gee. We woke up, and what happened was
I wish we had something to like
it's
party poppers or something to pop when we did our nation. But we don't.
the big holes in the swimming pool is really big holes. Somebody just ate it, the whole thing. So we pissed off that time. That day we woke up because we're thinking, oh, we have to clean the water tomorrow. Another one again for 0.99 from Posadas again, Bob. Holy crap, what's going
Do do
on?
do 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 do
What is going
do. We'll
on?
do that
Thank
for
you
you
so
guys.
much. So, what happened with the swimming pool, guys, is like you can put the whole head of you over there. So we pissed off because we're thinking, oh, we're just gonna clean the swimming pool tomorrow. We'll put water in it, and it's all gone now. The dog's chewing everywhere, and we can't even just fix because it's a huge of holes, and then the skin is ripped apart really bad. He ripped it apart like you're angry. You rip it all things, everything. It's like, oh gosh. I was like, we shouldn't have. You shouldn't have took the water out away. What? Sabrina there?
No, I was asking Fritz where the horn is.
Morning.
Horn. You know what we have for New Year? We could have done.
Oh, we threw it away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what happened was, guys, it's all gone. We threw it away, and now we cannot buy a new one because it's too expensive now. That was long, 4 years ago. It's cheap because it's on sale with that swimming pool, and now it's like, all right, whatever. We can get nothing, and that's what it is. This what it is.
So, just give me a minute, guys, and
Yeah. So,
we can still talk.
yeah. So what happened was we just have to be like this. I would like to go jump in that swimming pool, but we can't.
And I want to jump in a swimming pool.
Yeah, so anyone wants to go to the panel, here's the link. You can click the link and you can. Only
That side
those
for us.
people,
Down there.
yes.
I don't have a pool.
So
I just use the
everyone
water
wants to
hose.
join because we're so dark right now.
Uh,
We're like a ghost or it's in the dark or something like
Asada
that.
uses the water hose.
Oh yeah, that's what we do too.
Because
Put in a
we hook
hang
it up
and
and
then
it's like and
that's
we
what
just
we
let it
do. Yeah,
shower on us. I think
shower
that's a
on.
really good idea,
Yeah,
actually.
it's great.
Yeah, I think we'll have to start
We've
doing
done that
that
all
again.
the time, but it's good to just you can sit in the water and just stay over there for a bit and go
Definitely.
out and put it going back instead of water running. It's great running water like shower, but it's not the same with the swimming pool. You stay there and you lay, relax.
And I,
But it is what it is. We can't get anything, but 'cause there's a lot of things that should be done, especially you know. For some reason, my nose is hurting right now. It's right here, all the time.
so, guys, just so you know, I did try and do a live
And
Ross Kemp one
Ross Camp
video
one.
documentary, kind of like a premiere type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, YouTube won't allow that. They only allow me to upload a video, just not stream it as a premiere. So I've uploaded it. So if you care to watch it,
Yeah.
I'll get the link for you.
There. Okay, hello. Welcome everyone. Punches, couches, everybody.
So that's the link for it, guys.
Yeah, if you wanna
LSK,
watch
how you
that.
doing?
If you wanna watch that guy, just watch the video and whole thing. Watch the whole thing. Awesome sauce. So it's a really So are you still can go live with that?
We can go live, we just can't
Why are you
stream.
1,000 subscriber now?
Yeah,
Oh really?
yeah,
So did you get your banana or anything like that yet? No.
no,
Oh,
we just can't for some reason
why?
um, stream Premiere on it. So, don't know.
Okay.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It was a testing thing anyway. It's a testing
Yes.
channel, like we've always said. So it's one of them
So
things,
guys,
guys.
we're so dark right now, so you know, we try a different kind of
Maybe
version
we can do like we'll try at a later
reaction
date, like a reaction where
reaction with that.
we're on it as well.
Yeah.
Maybe
They
they'll
they.
allow it then.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Mhm.
We'll try it. That's something we'll try later on. Like I
Yeah.
say, it's a testing channel to see if it will work for either of our channels.
Mhm. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
So, yeah. But the video is up. That's the link to it.
Yeah.
What the
So
missus
we're
has
gonna
kindly
do. Is that?
shared.
Are we gonna? Did you upload a video online?
No, not yet. I'm going to be uploading a video on the missus
So
channel
guys, I'm
because
just
she's
wanna
really busy.
say
So
I
I'll be
hope
doing
you
that
guys helping
later
my
on.
channel about because pretty soon, you know, in 24 days, 25 days, he's leaving. So it's gonna be a lot of work needs to be done for me.
Mm.
So I don't think I can get that reach the 4,000 right away. So if you guys really, really wanna
She
help
only needed
me,
3,000 now.
I needed 3,000. If you guys want to help me to watch the watch hours, you know, for an old videos, because that will help. Old videos, you know. So if you want to help me, guys, just please play when you're sleeping or something like that, so I could have the watch hours if you could, you know, if you're not busy or anything like that. That would be amazing. That would be um appreciated, and thank you so much, you guys, if you do that. So hopefully by before he leaves, it will be like almost there, you know, because I know it's really hard. 4 watch hours is really hard to get. It's hard to get that hours unless you have a viral video that we always send to everybody.
You
But
can put a thumbnail on it.
yeah. So if
I'll work it out.
like I said that just I really needed those watch hours, but yeah, it really tough, you know.
So if you've not seen our new video on this channel, there's the link for that one. Awake, Kevin, can't answer that yet. Need more coffee. Laugh out loud.
But
You okay? So there's the link. What I've just dropped for the new video on this channel. So if you want to obviously check that out, it's quite disgusting actually. To be honest, it really is.
what happened with that one?
Hey,
What was the other one you that,
what's what
that
that?
one, yeah.
It's a
Another
little video I
oh.
found what we can put into this. It's about Argentina kicking off again at the British about the
Yeah.
Falkland Islands.
Ano yun?
So what I'm going to
Magkano
be
yan?
doing is I'm just going to change the title.
Ano yan?
So I won't be a minute, guys. Hang on. Oh, let me change the title. Okay, can't change the title. Never mind. So my cats can hear the dog. Yeah, I know. Fucking annoying, innit? So, guys, I'm gonna stream this video. Adventures with Nubs, coming to show love before B. How you doing, my friend? Thanks for coming in. Please like and share us out. Much appreciated. I'm just about to show a video of Argentina kicking off at the British again about the Falkland Islands. You never know, it could be another war down there at some point. So, guys, watch this and tell us what you think.
After almost 40 years, no tensions between UK and Argentina over Malvinas Island, or well known as Falkland by the Brits. Today, it seems the thing begins to change. Britain is increasing its military presence on the island, a move condemned by Argentina.
Also, I'll put the description in for this video down below, after the live. Argentina kicking off with the British again.
Oh, really?
Over the Falkland Islands, yeah.
When?
Just recently.
As reported by Buenos Aires Times, Argentina's government has sent a note of protest to the British authorities, rejecting in the strongest terms UK military maneuvers and proposed missile tests on the islands by the Brits.
They would be bloody foolish. Foolish.
Oh, I can't do it. Anyway,
according to a statement released by the Foreign Ministry in Buenos Aires this week, the British Ministry of Foreign Affairs informed the Argentine embassy in the UK about the carrying out of military exercises, including the upcoming launch of Rapier missiles in the coming days.
Only 300 soldiers back then. And now we're more prepared for it than ever. We will send more troops down to the Falkland Islands to protect them islands, but we've owned the Falkland Islands since the 1800s, guys.
After receiving the news, the Argentine government sent the UK government a stern note of protest. Argentina also plans to report the issue to the United Nations and the International Maritime Organization, as well as issuing a warning through the Argentine Hydrographic Service, a branch of the Ministry of Defense. For Argentina, these maneuvers constitute an unjustified show of force and a deliberate departure from the appeals of numerous United Nations resolutions and other international organizations that urge both countries to resume negotiations in order to find a peaceful solution to the sovereignty dispute.
Jets, helicopters, planes, that's the British weapon, or rapiers.
The alleged defensive position of the British military base in the South Atlantic is not only totally unjustified, but also a threat to the entire region, the Argentine Foreign Ministry warned.
They're the British Vikings. Viking armoured personnel carriers. The Argentinians again.
Earlier this week, the Argentine government also filed a complaint with Uruguay after a British military plane was permitted to refuel in Montevideo when returning from the Falkland a source from the Argentine Foreign Ministry told AFP.
How bad's that? Refusing to refuel a British plane.
On its way back to the United Kingdom, the plane made a technical stopover in Montevideo, without notice, contradicting cooperation policies over the disputed islands between Argentina and Uruguay, according to the source. Uruguay has historically supported the legitimate right of Argentina in the sovereignty conflict with Great Britain over the Falkland, as well as United Nations resolutions that urge the parties to negotiate.
Like I said, guys, the Argentinians actually attacked and they lost.
Argentina and the UK maintain a sovereignty dispute over the islands, over which they fought a war in 1982 that ended 74 days later with the surrender of Argentina. During the war, 648 Argentines and 255 British died.
Military for quite a while. So yeah, obviously it won't play the full video, so what I will do is link that video down in the description. A little bit later on, straight after this live stream, I will link, because obviously it only gives a certain amount of time to stream like that. Narrator was louder than you, really. It was feared a few years ago that the Argies would have another pop at the Falklands, especially as the UK had retired the old carriers and new ones wasn't going to be completed till around 2020. Yeah, they did. But what the British did, the British government MOD did actually send down 4th Battalion, which was my old battalion, down to the Falklands. So it was a good few thousand men and women, of course, and vehicles was stationed down in the Falklands for 6 months while that was going off. So it was a 6-month tour down there, just in case obviously they did try and invade. So obviously it wouldn't have ended up like last time where it were only a few hundred men down there. But there is a full units down there now. They're not just holding off with a couple of hundred men. There is full units down on the Falkland Islands now, what's based down there, and they do rotations like as always. So yeah, it's not particularly great, to be honest. Argentinia's they've been trying to get the Falkland Islands back for a long time, but the thing is, the British owns, so they're not going to have a chance, you know. Mental as it is, proper mental indeed. So yeah. There is another short little clip I do want to show you guys. It's basically of all NATO tanks, because obviously not yesterday, day before, we was talking about actually, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, straight after the trivia, we were talking about the military tanks and stuff like that. And this next little clip will be showing you like all 25 tanks firing at once, and it's absolutely an amazing little video. And again, I'll put that link in the description straight after this live stream, so in case it cuts off, I don't think it'll cut off, I think you can watch the whole lot, but I will mention the original uploader in the description straight after the live stream. My friend Dan.
Hi, Dan.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm on.
You are.
All right.
Staring into the clouds, was you, sir? It was needed, Tom, as a deterrent, as our navy was at its weakest at the time. Yes, it was, but still, our navy was weakest at the time, but we still conquered Argentina's navy. They now sit at the bottom of the ocean around the Falkland Islands. So yeah, Morning, Mr. Dan from LSK.
Hey.
7 ways. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I moved my camera, now it's over here. If we're getting what I'm talking about. There you go.
So yeah, what's your guys' views on? I'll just tilt this forward. Hang on. There we go.
On the fall
What's
clip.
your guys' views on the on that clip? What you've just seen? Obviously, that's not the full clip, but you get the gist of what's going on.
I guess I never understood why the British were in the Falklands in the first. I've probably watched it.
It's the oil, mate.
Is it the oil? Oh, okay.
It's definitely the oil. That's the only reason we've got the Falkland Islands. It's been. I mean, you've got to think the British owned a massive, massive empire back in its day, and obviously we gave majority of the countries of the world back to them back in the day as well. But there is a few slight, well, a few countries, or shall I say, islands, what we still do own. Due to obviously it could be economic value, or it could just be importance for some sort of way. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it'll be the oil, what's down there, and that's why obviously there's a lot of oil rigs, there's a lot of drilling and stuff like that around the Falkland Islands. So
yeah,
I mean that's my guess.
It's so far from Britain. You're like, what the hell are they even doing now? What? Well, we can give you oil. I mean, we're good enough friends, right? As nations, yeah. I think we should.
Well, this is why. Obviously, when the Argentinians first kicked off at the time, it weren't seen as a massive problem. But I think 356 Royal Marines were stationed on the island at the time, and obviously Argentina attacked, which was out of the blue, and. Yeah, they basically they got onto the island, but I tell you what, the Marines held them off up until the full military power got down there. But the thing is, I remember one good saying actually. It was from a Royal Marine, and one of the Argentinian soldiers pushed him because obviously they got captured, and he says, "You touch me hands on me again, I will rip them off and shove them up your arse."
Good.
And I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Obviously, you're in capture and a Royal Marine turns an Argentinian soldier saying that. And I tell you what, obviously, as soon as the rest of the British military and the Navy came down, they got just freaking destroyed, you know. So obviously, the captured troops soon ended up back in the battle, and yeah, it was pretty funny, to be honest. Dan, the Falklands has always been a strategic base for our Navy. Tom, the world is becoming a scary place. High-tech armies are pushing a change in how and when the next outbreak of war will happen. I totally agree with you, yes. Yeah, but that's the world we're living in. It's never going to be a peaceful world, unfortunately. Never going to be a peaceful world. There's always going to be a war there, somewhere along the line.
Didn't Argentina really hand you your hand Britain their asses, and then in the air battle though? Wasn't it
I think they had an upper hand at first. I think they had the upper hand at first, but once our Harriers, more of our Harriers got up there, yeah, they started to get a bit scared, because the Harriers at the time of the age, was actually one of the best fighter jets people had at the time. But obviously, you've got to think, obviously, there were only 356 Marines there. There was no aircraft carriers, there were no Navy, there were no military jets, there were nothing like that down there at the time, because there was nothing, there was no need to send a full might down there. So obviously all this was coming from Britain as soon as obviously we received the news that the Falklands were getting overrun by the Argentinians. So But this is why just a few years ago Argentina started picking back up again and saying we want the islands and stuff like that. They started mouthing off again, and before they even started, because they were threatening us. They were threatening the British, saying, "You don't give us the islands back, we will retaliate in force again." And as soon as they said that, because of what happened first time round, we sent down about 2,500 military personnel. That was including Navy. Sorry, no, that was just the British Army. It was a full battalion what went down. And sorry, was it 2,000? No, I think it was about 6,000 for a full battalion. 6,000 personnel. That was just the British Army, and then obviously we sent the RAF down there on the Navy ships and stuff like that. So we was well prepared, a lot more than what we was before. And I think since then, since that threat, we're doing a 6-month rotation down there now. Ever since that happened, since that threat towards the islands, because on the civilian population what's living on the islands are British. They're not Argentinians, they're not American, they are British personnel, you know. So it's just like hitting England itself, the UK itself, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got to retaliate, obviously, the same as if they were just hitting the UK straight away, and like any country would.
Right.
Hey, Bill.
Hi, Bill. Hold on, guys. I'm taking care of some stuff.
Yeah, it's
just write it down.
It's not particularly been a great relationship between the British and the Argentinians, but you know, they've not said anything for quite a while, and then all of a sudden they kick up a couple of years ago saying they want the islands. Then we thought, you know what, you can fuck off. It's our islands. You want it, you fight for it. And because we sent down that military might, they never even bothered, because they knew that they got their asses handed to them first time round. The only reason they managed to get on the island first time round is because they took us by surprise, you know. But like I said, 356 against a whole entire army, and they withstood them off for quite a while. It just goes to show that the British military are definitely not to be messed with, basically. Because if 356 men can hold off a whole entire army for quite a while before they get captured, and it was a good few weeks before they got captured, then obviously I think, you know, they definitely have the shits put up them for a bit.
Yeah.
You know, especially if we retaliate in might again.
Pushed in! They got their shit.
That was it, eh?
Pushed in! Yeah. Uh-oh. I think you froze. Need that Crickets soundboard. Where's that Crickets soundboard? I'm having a good time. Yeah. You ever seen that movie Scanners when that guy's head explodes?
Sorry about that, guys. Is everything okay now? Yeah.
Yeah, you're back.
Hear us? Sweet. Sorry about that, guys. Obviously, it's because we stream through the computer. It takes a lot more internet. But yeah, what I was saying is, do you think? I don't know. Seven Ways said Falklands 82 was a close call. It could have easily gone the other way. It could, if the Argentinians had a bit of freaking balls about themselves and thought up a good strategic plan to defend the island when we got there. but they didn't. They left a lot of options open. For example, little tiny harbours, which we managed to get men on the ground. We had paratroopers what got there, and so yeah, they didn't really defend the islands as good as they should have done if they wanted the islands back. Because we managed to get on the islands pretty damn easy, to be fair, a lot easier than what the Argentinians did, put it that way. How are you doing, Templar from Heaven? So, yeah, bit of a ball ache, isn't it?
What are you talking about, Bill? What are you talking about, Time Warp?
Time Warp? You're doing the Time Warp again.
Oh, you
probably
mean
because we're buffering with circle going round.
Yeah. Warp drive engaged.
Freeze.
And then I was
doing the robot like that, thinking that you're getting stuck. Oh dear.
Was frozen.
So this next clip, guys, is basically NATO tests at 25 guns firing, basically, from NATO tanks. So I thought while we were talking about the tanks the other day, and obviously it's part of the trivia for Friday,
Need some refresher.
I thought it could be a little bit of a interest to you guys, because you never know, it might be some of this video might be in the questions. I don't know yet, depends, might not be, but it's worth to find out different things. So
I don't even remember what the third category I picked was. I think I remember World War I and the tanks history, but what was the third one? I don't remember.
Prehistory.
Prehistory.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's the one.
prehistory.
Yeah. I mean, that's like anything before written history is called prehistory.
Yeah, we was a bit confused, like what you're on about. So, but obviously, since you said dinosaurs and caveman times, then we kind of understood that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fine. We can sort something around like caveman, freaking stuff like that, because the first humans, I've got a video on that, so I can pick a couple of questions out of that. So, which means, guys, if you haven't seen that video, check it out. So, actually, I'll try and find it now.
Well, you should have won, LSK.
I'll try and find it.
You shouldn't have gave me the crown that one time, because I set myself up to win. Even though Bill won, and then I won it back from him. It, you know, it could have all been avoided.
I know it's going backwards and forth. We need more people in these trivias.
Yeah, we need it so people can join and people know.
Right, and then you can pick the category.
So I'm going to share that video, guys. So after this live stream, go back through. That's the video for like the earliest humans been found. So that I'm going to get a few questions out of that.
So the first or oldest human is called Lucy, and it's I think it's 4 million years old or 2 million years old. 4 foot tall. And the guy down the street from me, he's an anthropologist. He's friends with the guy that discovered it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. He's pretty cool. I'll have him over one of these days. I've already asked him if I could interview him because he's really interesting. And he's like this white hillbilly looking dude, right? Just total hillbilly looking dude. And he can speak Swahili fluently.
No way. So yeah, that video, the title is called "Is a New Human Species Emerging from an Underground?" So that's the title for that. And again, it'll be like what you just said, Dan. It'll be Neanderthals and different people like that. So check that out after the live stream. It's only 3 minutes 40 seconds, so I'm pretty sure people's got 3 minutes 40 seconds time to check that out.
I watched an hour plus long Ross Kemp video, so.
Well, yeah. What
good.
did you think of it? Was it a good?
I mean,
do you think it was a good one?
You know, I'm interested in the whole.
He's a good guy, Ross Kemp. He's been fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done Somali pirates, he's done gangs, he's done wartime, he's done freaking Amazon.
Dude's got some big fucking brass balls, man.
Yeah, it's crazy what he's done. So, right, let's get this NATO tests video out of the way, and we'll be back very shortly.
NATO.
Once it plays,
Oh, it was playing.
There we go. Bit sticky though, isn't it?
Are these the French?
So this is all NATO countries' tanks, which you can see with the flags on top.
That was badass.
Obviously America's involved in this as well. We've got the German Leopards there.
What is this flag?
Spanish.
Oh, Spanish.
German Leopard again, and then Challenger 2 there, and T-62 there, M1 Abrams, French, America, got them all. There you go. So, nice
America
little
had the
short
big
video
flag.
there. I thought it was pretty cool for you to see that.
Yeah, I went for it.
So
You can see America down there.
think
They
it-
had a flag half the size of the tank.
I liked how it was the only ones what had two flags on the back was America.
Right, it was like sticking out the back. Yeah, I like that. You'll see down here in Texas, people run around and roll around their trucks with flags sticking out the back like that.
Well, the only time you get that in the UK is with the St George's flag, and that's if only when football's playing. They don't do it any other. They don't do it any other day. But the thing is, the reason why it's the St George's flag and not the Union Jack flag is because the Indian and Pakistani and other weird people like that keep saying that the Union Jack flag is racist. So you're not even allowed to fly that in your gardens.
Of course they
Honest to
say
God.
that. You know why they say that? Is because they don't understand that it's different. It's a different flag from the rebel flag. They think it's the rebel flag. They honestly, that's what it is. They think it's the Confederate rebel flag. That's the only explanation I can think of. But they are so confused.
Well, this is the thing. They think that, but they're sadly mistaken because one, it's not, and two, it's been the same flag ever since freaking human mankind stepped foot on freaking the UK soil.
Right. Right.
I mean, ever since the UK became the United Kingdom, that flag was created. So,
but it's the same thing. It's like the cross. It's like an X with the stars in it, right?
It's made up of four flags. It's made up of the Scottish flag, which is the White Cross. It's made up of the Union Jack, which is the UK,
Right.
England, St George's. It's also got bits for the only one you don't see in is the Welsh and the obviously Northern Ireland flag, the Irish flag, but it is made up of four different flags. I'll try and show you.
Lefty socialist, no, Marxist, no, like not trying to change everything. Is that commercial break? Heaven Way?
Sorry, 3 flags it's made up of. And the Northern Ireland flag is different to the Irish flag. I didn't even know that myself. So the only one, what is basically not on is the Welsh flag, but they use the same thing, you know, because obviously they've got a dragon on and it's white at the top and green at the bottom. But it's consisted of St Andrew's Cross, which is Scotland. Obviously the Welsh flag is consisted in it, even though it's not got anything part of it. It is consisted. It's got the St George's Cross of England, and it's got St Patrick's Cross of Ireland. So I'll just show you these.
Northern Ireland. That's not like what's the NRA? That's the Northern Republic.
So technically four flags, but only 3 of them are a C. There you go. So the blue one that is the Welsh with the dragon. Underneath that is St George's Cross, and the one to the right of St George's Cross is the St Patrick's Cross of Ireland. So obviously that's all the flags what make up the Union Jack flag.
Okay.
Basically.
I'll see the blue one and the white and red one with the X.
What, the blue and white?
Yeah, the blue and white one and the white and red one below it.
Yeah, the blue and white one's St Andrew's Cross, that's Scottish flag. And the blue and red one, what's in the same way, cross like that, that's the St Patrick's Cross of Northern Ireland.
Oh, okay. Because that's like the same kind of design, I guess.
Ireland itself is different to Northern Ireland. The UK owns Northern Ireland, but doesn't own Ireland. Ireland is its own little country.
Right, they're not part of the UK.
It's only Northern Ireland, which is owned by the British, if that makes sense.
Okay. It doesn't make sense, but okay.
Kind of confusing, I know.
Yeah. Because that's saying I'm part of Mexico or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, basically, it's like saying North Korea and South Korea. They're all same. It's all Korea, but there's a North and South, just like there is Ireland. It's all Ireland, but there's North Ireland, which is run by the British, and Ireland itself, which is obviously the South, is Ireland, different country.
Okay.
Mm. So yeah, the one what you was thinking of,
the Civil War looks very similar.
The one what you was thinking of with the stars on it, that's actually the Australian flag. It's got the Union Jack in top left, and then it's got the blue background with the white stars on. That's the Australian flag, because obviously Australia is, I don't know. I don't know if we're still technically, the Royal Monarchy, I think, still technically owns Australia.
Well, look up the Confederate rebel flag from the Civil War. Just look at what it looks like. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's like it's just like those other 2 flags, but it's got stars.
Yeah, the cross with the stars. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Ah,
and
okay.
That's the symbol that people consider racist here, right? If you're flying that somewhere, you're a white supremacist. It's bullshit, but it's not true. But that's what people associate with, racism.
I think if it's got a bad history, like obviously the Confederates didn't they? They enjoyed slavery and all that, didn't they?
They didn't enjoy slavery. It was just the only way they had to live. Right? It was the only way that society would work. It's really weird. It's a really complex fucking weird.
It is very complex. I'll give you that.
I'm really glad that it's not that they lost and that slavery went away. You know.
but don't you think, right? With the saying that it's the only way to live, it's like, don't you think that's only because the rich who owned them was just too damn lazy to freaking
no, it was more complicated.
Just didn't want to pay actual Americans to do the work. They just wanted to get free labor, which was easier to get a slave than to get an American to do the work for them.
Right. I mean, that's capitalism. If you have a resource that's cheaper, you exploit it. That's capitalism.
Yeah.
But back then,
I agree with that.
I mean, they weren't considered humans, and it's fucked up. You know, it should have never fucking happened. If America wasn't the only country doing it. I mean,
well, I can safely say the UK has never owned slaves. We've been the one who's actually we're the only country what's actually gone against slavery ever since slavery first started happening. To be honest, now people can say, "Oh yeah, we did. They used to row the boats and that," but they weren't. They were actually paid. So if they're paid, they're not slaves.
Interesting.
You know, they were normal workers from the what's the word? Other countries what we owned back then, like India and Caribbean and stuff like that. So yeah, they weren't paid as much as a normal Britishman, but they were still paid. So they were still technically workers, just like today's day and age. If a Polish person wants to come to the UK and work, they get paid. You know, because it's cheap labour. If they want, they can get away with paying and thinking. They can't do it much anymore with cheap labour. Everyone goes on the minimum wage now. But back then, it was the same type of thing. So we was the only nation what I can think of. I mean, there could have been a couple of more, but I think we're the only ones what actually was against slavery and didn't allow it whatsoever. Especially in the UK, we stopped it happening. So that's where they're saying in the song on Britannia, Britain shall never be slaves, because we never have been and never will allow to have slaves. You know.
Wow. Okay, so I think there's a little bit of confusion as far as slavery. Britons didn't call slavery. It was indentured servants. An indentured servants
because they were basically paid. You know, they weren't the slaves. They got uniform. They got well looked after. You know, they got fed 3 meals a day. They got paid for the work. You know, they got given.
An indentured servant is somebody that's in debt. An indentured servant is somebody that's in debt to their owner until they pay off their debt, and then they're free. Right? They're paying their own. They're paying for their own freedom, basically. Because I have family members that I descended from.
No, technically not, because it was just like a line of job. So it's just like a baker. You sign to get a job in bakery, like they signed to get a job in servants because they knew it was more stable for the living of the family. You know, so obviously they was living in the household of the rich. So obviously they was getting fed. Obviously it would be the not the scraps, but you know the leftovers what didn't get served out for dinner after the rich has eaten. That's when they eat. You know, they work for the rich,
right.
But it was just like a normal job. You know, they still had to apply for it.
They weren't. It's not just a normal job. You can't quit. You're owned by those people for the certain amount of time.
No, because they actually offered to become servants. They didn't get ordered to become a servant.
Let me read this here real quick. Here, when the Brits colonized the United States, right, they brought a lot of workers. And made a lot of farms. The rich would own farms, and then they'd pay people to go to work on those farms, right? So it says working class British citizens sold their labor to pay for the voyage to the Americas in an arrangement called indentured servitude. A wealthy landowner would pay for the trip, and in exchange, the worker would essentially be theirs for 4 to 7 years. For a time, the British also tried sending criminals to their colonies as a form of free labor. In particular,
well, yeah, if it's criminals, it's different. It's different.
Habit of arresting the Irish as dissidents and criminals and sending them to work as on Caribbean sugarcane plantations, and that's true too. Because when slavery was big in the United States, it wasn't just blacks that were slaves; the Irish were also slaves. And a black man was worth $5, and an Irish man was worth $3.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I totally agree with you.
I mean, worse time than the blacks did, really.
I totally agree with you. I mean, obviously, with criminals, it was a totally different ballgame. Obviously, right. it was either work.
We do the same thing in America,
owner, or you're in prison. And I think that's where a lot of people chose to work, because they was out in the open and to actually have some sort of life. You know what I mean?
See, that's how
and not getting stuck in a cell.
Slavery still exists in America. It's the prison system.
Especially here in the Philippines.
Prison system is a source of free labor, and politicians recognize that, and they will not close down prisons if they're profitable, because they're getting free labor from these people.
Well, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
do you think it is slavery? Or do you think
yes, it's slavery.
Or do you think it's
you have absolutely
some sort of way for a prisoner to get work experience, so it's easier for them to get a job when they actually get out of prison?
I wish it was that. I don't think they give a shit about the people that they're imprisoning or releasing. I don't think it's about reforming people as much as it is exploiting them. You know? But that's my opinion.
Basically, like, what I'm trying to say is like rehabilitating the prisoners, so it gives them something to do, so they're not locked in the cell all day.
Right.
If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Give them something to do, like stamping license plates or doing laundry or something like that, working in the library.
Yeah, give them something to do, you know, so they're not getting locked up all day, or they're not causing trouble. They're actually keeping busy. I mean, yeah, they're in prison. They've lost that freedom to, be free. So if they didn't want to be in prison, they shouldn't have done the crime.
Right.
So, you know, they themselves had a choice whether to go to prison or not. So
sometimes that's not the case, though.
You know, it wasn't society saying, "Oi, random Joe blogs down the street, get in prison. You're working for free labor." It weren't like it was back in the slavery times, you know, because the people who's gone in prison had the choice to go there or not. Because if they didn't commit the crime, they wouldn't be there. They'll have a normal job. They'll have a normal life like everybody else does. You know, but they made that choice by committing the crime, so they ended up paying for it. And if it means paying back to society for the crime they've taken, then working, you know, I think it has mixed emotion, to be honest. Because you can look at it as it's rehabilitating prisoners to make them try and make them a decent person for when they come back out of prison. And obviously it gives them work, and they are giving something back to society, because whatever they make in prison, it gets sold out in civilian streets, you know. So in a way, for the crimes what they committed, they're giving something back.
Right.
If that makes sense. So I think it has a bit of the same side of like what you're saying as well. Like, you know, but they're not getting forced to work inside. They have their own choice. They can work if they want to, or they don't. I mean, obviously, if you're going to be a badass in prison, you won't get that choice. You'll just get stuck behind bars 24/7. But if you're an actual decent person behind bars, they'll then probably get the offer and say, "Here, we've got a job opportunity down in laundry or cooking, or making things. Do you want to do it? To get you out of the cell for a bit." And it's up to them to say yes or no. And the thing is, doing that, it actually gives them a little bit of money as well. Well, it does over here in the UK. I can't say in America, but it does. You don't get paid a lot. I think it's like £5 a week or something like that if they work over here in the prison over here. But it gives them a little something, so they can buy a chocolate bar or magazines or like shavers and stuff like that from the shop. So I don't know. I think it definitely has mixed emotions, that type of thing.
Yeah, it's really complicated. I don't usually try to touch that subject just because it is so complicated and multifaceted, and you can't be right. You just can't. There's always somebody that's
I don't think there is
wrong, and it's like, Dad, I don't want to go down that path because it's really.
To be honest, it's one of them subjects where you're not right and you're not wrong, because it can be looked at in totally different ways. So,
right, and that's the thing, is both sides can be right and wrong, and they'll never agree, so why just don't waste the energy?
Well, this is it. But you're always going to get them type of people what think, oh no, it's wrong, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. You've got them over here. People over here think that prisoners should have human rights. Well, in my opinion, they passed off them human rights when they've just murdered somebody, or they've just sexually abused somebody. You know what I mean? Or raped children, or rape and murder, and all. Where was the victims' human rights when they did that? So,
Well, I agree.
They didn't think of their human rights, but because they're locked in a bloody cell, they want human rights.
The percentage of people in prison that are actually murderers and child rapists and shit like that, it's so small. Most of the people in prison are in there for like having crack on them and cocaine and other drugs, or robbing a store with a pistol, or just shit like that, just dumb shit like that, like gang warfare and being caught with a gun without having a permit, or being a felon with a gun, or shit like that, man.
I agree. I mean, the thing is, in the UK, it's slightly different. We have different prisons for different crimes. So, in America, I think you're all mixed, aren't you? You have different wings within the prisons more than having different prisons.
Yeah, we have
low offenders. You'll have a certain type of wing, and
then, so we'll have like a minimum security. It might be a minimum to maximum security prison. We'll have other ones that are only maximum. We have super max prisons, which are just like fortresses that, like, even if an army came and assaulted it, they wouldn't get whoever's in there out. So I mean,
like the one we've got in Manchester, it's called Strangeways, and in Strangeways in Manchester, you've got the worst of the worst in there. You've got child rapists, freaking murderers, you've got paedophiles, you name it, they all get put into Strangeways. And it's same with the one what I put up on the Ross Kemp channel, Bellemere Prison, I think it's called, up in Scotland. That's again worst of the worst, but that one's like mixed. So obviously you've got one side which is all your paedophiles and murderers, and then you've got the other side of the prison which is like your theft and drug related criminals. But then you've got, because in the UK they work on category A, B or C. A being the worst, so obviously Strangeways will be in there. Category C is basically like an open prison. So they're allowed to walk around wherever they goddamn well want. Obviously the whole prison area is covered with fencing, but they're free to walk wherever they want. So it's basically like, I don't know, young offenders or theft or something stupid like that, And then you've got category B, which is just a bit more severe, like armed robbery or you know, stuff like that, and then obviously category A, which is worst of your worst. So
he's open. Yeah. C then category C would be considered what we call blue collar criminals, people that like work at banks and like do fraud and money schemes and shit, and then get caught. They're not dangerous. They're just criminals.
Yeah, just stupid.
Right. And those people. Hey, if you could do a crime and you can get away with it, or if there's no victim, let's just say that if there's no victim, there's no crime, right? If there's a victim, there's a crime, right?
Oh, of course there is. Yeah.
Right. So that's just how you gotta. So.
But I think with every crime, there's always a victim somewhere along the line.
Well, like Mindset Central was saying the other day.
Fraud. Because if you look at fraud,
Central brought up
the
other
person
day,
who's got fraud handed
somebody's
to him
losing money, which means there's a victim, right?
Mm.
But if I'm going 80 and a 70 in a 70 mile an hour on the highway, and I'm going 80 and I'm breaking the law, right?
Yeah.
I'm technically breaking the law. But if there's nobody that I'm hurting because of it, I'm just going down the road and I get to my destination and I pull in and nobody got hurt. Nobody.
I agree with you in some sort of sense. I agree with you in some sort of sense. Same in the UK. If you break the speed limit, you get fined and points on your license, possibly a prison sentence. But if you crash into a wall, right, there's still technically a victim there, even though it's a wall.
Somebody has to fix the wall.
The victim is the council or the government who has to pay for that wall. So that's the victim. You know what I mean?
Until that crash happens, there's no crime.
Well, no, but there's still a victim.
Anybody's, property where nobody has to pay. There's no victim that's like, has to pay out, take care of this problem.
I totally agree what you're saying, but there's still a victim, and the victim is everybody who's on the road user at the same time as what you are, because you could any moment, cause an accident.
That's all hyperbole. That's hypothetical. If it doesn't happen, there was no crime. Sure, it's possible that going 100 miles an hour down the highway, you could possibly kill somebody else, and that would definitely make it a crime because there's definitely victims, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't, there's no victims, there's no crime, right? If a cop
I agree with you, but that's not.
He's like, you just offended me, right? Because you're breaking the law in front of me, right?
I totally agree with you.
He's a victim.
Yeah, right? I totally agree with you. But it's one of them things what's like hard to judge because, it's, you can say it's not a crime.
That's the essence of freedom.
And it's like,
you gotta let people have their own choice.
Things. Yeah. Because I think the way society looks at it is if there's a risk, it's considered as a crime, depending on what the risk is.
Well, it's like if somebody climbs a tower somewhere, right? Like one of these urbexers climbs a tower and then they fall. People might say, well, the only victim was the person that fell, right? Well, that's not true. Somebody had to come and pick that guy up. Right? Somebody had to clean his body up. Somebody had to tell the parents or the family members that they're dead, and then the family members are victims because they lost somebody. So I mean, climbing on a tower and you fall, you're breaking the law, right? You broke the law.
You're trespassing. Yeah.
Right, you're trespassing. Right. Exactly.
See, in the UK, trespassing isn't a criminal offence. It's
which is crazy because people trespass and then they vandalize and they make a victim out of the person that owns the property. Even if they're not taking care of the property, they own it. And then people come in there and they make damage and they're victimizing those people. Right? So it makes no sense that it's not a crime.
It's like in the UK, if you go into a place and break something, regardless on the state of the ruins it is, you're then causing criminal damage. So then it is criminal. But if you just go, say, wander into a house, you just film and you just think it's just trespassing. So obviously that
but the person that owns the
isn't criminal in the UK. That's civilian. That's the civilian side of issues. So then it's up to the property owner to press charges or not.
The person driving down the highway over the speed limit. You know, it's the same. I think it's in the same category. You know, like,
of course,
is there a victim? Is there not a victim? There's a potential for a crime to be had. The person is in there. It could potentially cause the crime. The person that owns the building doesn't want them in there because they know they could be potentially causing the crime, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing as a person driving down the highway too fast, right? You don't know if they're about to crash. You don't know what their state of mind is.
I totally agree with you. It does technically go into the same bracket, but this is what I'm saying. I think society goes on the amount of risk. You know what I mean? You've got more risk causing that. No, I think so. Causing more hurt and more grief going at speed down a motorway than you are if you go into an abandoned building and just break a freaking dish or something. You know, I think it goes on to the level of what it is.
Yeah,
and
but
I think that's
I've been the victim now where somebody has gotten into a building that my family owned that was full of my great uncle's belongings, many of which were from the 1800s, and a lot of that stuff was broken. Right? And if I got my hands on those people, I would strangle the life out of them because they broke a dish that, you know, his family came over from Germany with, or, you know, they're priceless to that family, to us, right? But to those people that broke it, it's just a dish, who cares, right? Well, to me, that dish was extremely important.
It could be a family heirloom, you know. I totally agree what you're saying. And what do you think, LSK?
Well, the reason why it's there, is because people are so busy in their lives, and my great uncle, man, he was a pack rat, He was like, a hoarder. Master hoarder.
Me.
No, you couldn't. No, not like you. No, not like you.
You have no idea.
Hoarder, like a real hoarder. He had a pathway through the center of his house, and everything else was piled up higher than I am tall. Just a little pathway through to the bedroom, little pathway to the living room, and through the kitchen.
I have a story about that actually in a minute.
But the reason is because it's so much, right? The families get overwhelmed. They're like, we don't have the money to take care of this right now. We need to get this stuff out of here.
Yeah.
But every time we go there to get more stuff, somebody's broken in there. And we have to board it all up, you know?
Yeah.
And it just slows us down because we can't just go there and take everything out. It's
really popular in America, you know. I'm always watching hoarder people.
Hoarders, yeah. I mean, and what can you do, man? It was like so overwhelming. You could not see the guy's house. His yard was so full of like washing machines and old cars and shit like that. You couldn't see his house. We filled up.
The woman we saw that they had trailer.
6 or 10.
He didn't want to take it, you know.
Oh yeah.
We filled up 10 40-yard
dumpsters. With the hoarder is again, it goes back to when I worked at the funeral home. We got a police car out, a police removal, and it was a woman in a little bungalow. But as soon as you walk through the front door, you met with stuff. And like you said, Dan, it was up to the ceiling, and it was a little walkway like that going through the front room into like a little tiny corridor bit. And if you turn left, it goes into the kitchen. But again, it was just staying this little walkway like that all the way around. It sneaks around.
Just big enough to walk through.
Basically, this woman died by, I don't know how she died, but I'm presuming heart attack or something like that. And what happened was she must have been coming back from the kitchen, but before she went through the kitchen door, she just dropped dead there. So it was hard for us as funeral operatives to get that body because we couldn't get a stretcher down there. We had to leave the stretcher outside, and what we had to do then was dignified, climb over the body to get to the feet, try and roll her over.
Oh, Lord.
And then in a space like this, mind, the body's literally in the space like this, and we had to try and get the sheet underneath her, and then roll her onto the sheet, and then tie her up in the sheet, and then we literally carried her in the sheet all the way to the outside, then put her on the stretcher. So, yeah.
My uncle's a fireman, and he got called last year to a lady who fused herself to the toilet seat. She was too big, she couldn't move off the toilet seat, so she'd sat there for 4 months.
Yeah.
Fused to the toilet seat.
Yeah.
I was like, bloody hell, they had to get her out the window, like, they couldn't do anything.
Did her go, like, into the toilet, like, bowl?
Literally, it all grown round it. She was
around it?
Yeah.
Dan's actually interested in this, ain't he?
She's like trying to comprehend the physics. How do you get stuck on a toilet?
Yeah.
Damn.
And her son, literally, basically, she's got, I think it was a 13-year-old kid. He'd been living on his own quite happily and just left his mum sat on the ball.
It's the camera, 7 words.
It's the camera. Sorry about that. The camera of this old
the camera of the laptop is really dark.
The heart. So
it looks like it's night time, but it's not yet.
We try to fix. Oh no!
Oh Jesus!
Guys are going Blair Witch
This is
style.
really an old computer, so it's really a.
Yeah, it
he's
is an
told
old
me some
computer.
weird stories. He has, and I look and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
We also had
first responders got
we also had the police removal of I'm not even joking, a 35-stone guy, and he went to the toilet, had an heart attack, and it was a downstairs toilet, and you know downstairs toilets aren't big in the UK.
They're like tiny boxes, aren't they?
Basically, shut the door as you do when you go in, and he died. But when he died, he fell behind the freaking door.
Oh,
so
bloody hell.
we couldn't open the door to get to him. So we had to ring up somebody. We could open it slightly, but then somebody had to come in and literally cut down the door.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't get to the hinges, take it off the hinges, so we had to put down the door and set the door off that way in order to get to him, and that was a pain in the arse. That turned from a 30-minute removal to like 3 hours.
Yeah,
so we had to wait for somebody.
35 stone. Let me get this right. 35 stone. 1 stone is...
Baby
you don't work from stones, do you?
16 pounds?
We're talking
big. I forgot you don't work.
So we're talking stones. About like 400-pound guy.
Yeah.
Like a 500 or 500-pound guy. Like a big guy.
Yeah, very big.
The lady wasn't exactly small. I'm surprised the toilet didn't collapse underneath.
490 pounds.
Yeah, 500 pounds. Damn. That was pretty.
So nearly 500-pound guy. Yeah.
Mental, isn't it?
And
see that? Now you know I'm really good at guessing shit.
But again, the thing is, like, obviously, dead people, yeah, they weigh more than when you're alive. Believe it or not, they actually do.
Dead weight? You mean?
Because you're lifting up dead weight, right? Dead weight weighs more than the actual person.
Not supporting themselves,
because we've had families come in and say, oh, yeah, and we say, obviously, the arrangers are asking who's going to carry the coffin, so on and so forth, and say, oh, well, we will, because obviously they didn't weigh that much, so we can carry it. And we always say, well, he might have not weighed that much when he was alive, but you know, you need to remember, you've got the dead weight, right? So you could be weighing, what, 12 stone, for example, when you're alive. That 12 stone can easily creep up to 15 stone when you're dead. And this is why we weigh every single body what goes into the funeral home. We have a special weighing scales where when we bring them in on the stretcher, obviously beforehand we weigh the stretcher, and then when the body comes in, we take the weight of the stretcher off. So we get the ideal weight of the person. And when we've said to the family, they've said, oh, he only weighed 10 stone or something like that. Well, that 10 stone has suddenly crept up to like 13 stone.
I was going to say, to be closer to 15.
Itself. Then you've got to add the weight of the coffin. And then you've got to add the weight of the flowers on top of the coffin. So, as you can see, all the weight mounts up. And this is
7
what people
ways.
don't seem to think about, because all they want to do is carry the loved ones. And we had one. I think he weighed about 16 stone, and his family wanted a solid oak coffin. It was a burial, so it was a solid oak coffin. The coffin weighed quite a bit on its own, as you can imagine. It was solid oak.
It's gonna be bloody big.
I know what oak. Yeah. I know what oak is like.
16 stone. That's all right for four people to carry. 4 funeral bearers to carry. 16 stones, fine in a normal coffin. Normally, if we get them in a solid oak coffin, they normally go in on wheels. Just because obviously the weight of the coffin, not because of the body, just because of the weight of the coffin. But the family was reluctant not to use wheels, but they didn't want to carry either. So we was like, always people pleasing, right? We was like, okay, but we did. But the funeral director did say if any of my boys want to put the coffin down, it will have to be on wheels. And if the grave site is too far from the church, then again it will have to be on wheels, just for health and safety through our boys. And they were like, that's fine. Anyway, we got 6 people on the coffin carrying, and then we got halfway to the gravesite, and it just got too heavy, because on the solid oak, it's not like a nice lip at the bottom. It's literally a rigid 90-degree bend, and it started digging in to all of our shoulders here, and it was really, really hurting the shoulders, because the way we carried, we didn't use hands like that. We carried just on our shoulders. We don't use the hands. So once we got them on, we put our hands down at the front, crossed, and everyone's in steps. So obviously we leave all the weight on the shoulder. You know, we don't use the hands in order to stabilize the coffin. That's just how we did it. We were trained to do that. You know, and so we obviously halfway there, we thought, right, we're halfway to the grave now. We're putting it down onto the wheels, and this was 6 of us carrying a coffin, and it just honestly, like I said, dead weight. It is ridiculous on how heavy dead weight is, and people just do not understand how heavy dead weight actually is.
Pick up a stack of water, you know. Try to pick up a loose bag of water.
You ain't moving a fish tank, are you?
Right. I mean, you can pick up like a rigid. Let's say it's a log that weighs 200 pounds. You might be able to pick that thing up and put it on your shoulder. But if it's like a bag and it's all sloshy, even grained or something, you try to pick, and it's all like fighting you. It's shifting. The weight is shifting this way and then that way, and man, you're constantly fighting it, because it's not just the gravity's not just in one spot. It's constantly shifting.
No, it's not. Carrying a coffin is the similar sort of thing. Even though you're not swishing away like that, it's just awkward to carry. You know, you just rely on the weight on your shoulder.
Twice.
Well, you can have different parts of weight as well, aren't you, when they led in a coffin?
They're from my grandpa and my great grandma, and they both had metal caskets, and they were surprisingly heavy with 6 people carrying them. I mean, even though they weren't like my great grandma was, frail.
They're all made out of aluminium, aren't they? So they try and keep the weight down, but it's all the fixtures inside. Because in the caskets, my experience of caskets, inside a casket, it's basically like they're on springs, like a mattress.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all the metal components there, and it's all the metal fixings what is on the coffin, like the handles and all the what they call hinges and all that. So it's not really the coffin that much, because obviously the casket itself is made out of aluminium. But all the fixtures and all that are made out of steel, and obviously steel mounts up. Don't matter how little it is, mounts up, and it weighs quite a bit. So I totally agree with you with that, Danny. They do get quite heavy, And again, but the thing is, the best thing with the caskets is that you can carry a casket with the handle.
Right.
You can't in the UK. The handles are just for show.
Oh, really? That's so
Yeah,
Yeah,
on
they
the,
just
on the coffins, the handles are just for show. Yeah, all they held in with is a nail like that.
That's crazy because they
That long.
cost so
That's
much
it.
money.
Yeah.
You think they
But they
could put
look
handles
nice,
that work
you know.
on them? You know,
Yeah.
come on, it's
because
a
they're going to
handle. Just make
appreciate
it
it, mind,
work.
aren't they? Being
Come
buried
on.
in one.
It's
Well,
you know
again,
the
you've got.
last
I mean, you'll have the same
ride
with the
there they have
caskets.
goes for handles.
With the caskets, you'll have your cheap ones to your expensive ones. It's exactly the same for the coffins. You know, depending on type of wood to how luxurious your coffin is. You know, goes on different prices. I mean, we had a funeral for a 16-year-old, and she had a pure white coffin. And what she had on it, she had I can't remember what she had it on in now, but it was painted with flowers all over it at the bottom. I think it were like painted roses or
That's
something
how my
like
great
that all over
grandma's
the bottom of
was.
the coffin. And they don't put a nameplate on that. Or the name is actually painted on the coffin as well. You know what I mean? It was a lovely coffin, but it cost them £1,500.
Jesus Christ.
That's actually cheap.
That is cheap. That is cheap. But obviously they
Yeah.
go up in price because that's just for the wooden box. That's not for the frill. That's nothing for inside. That's just a normal wooden white box, basically. £1,500,
I just want to be tree
which is
food.
like $2,000, something like that. So for a $2,000 casket, you would get the thrill, you'll get all the lacings inside, you know, and stuff like that. For that in the UK, depending on the coffin again, you don't get nothing inside. You don't get a pillar. The pillars are made up of a cardboard headboard type thing, what you
Why do they
make
need
up
a
and
pillow?
staple into the side.
I guess
You
the
know,
pillows, I suppose, is
you-
if your body's going to be on show, I suppose then they're going to want you to
It
look
looks more natural.
at least a little bit, you know, nice.
It looks like they're
Yeah.
resting and they're not just laying
Stop
there.
that. Just knock me
Well,
off, mate.
this is the thing. I
Burn
mean,
me.
we never used the we never freaking bothered using the headboards unless it was just a simple thing and they weren't getting viewed. We just put it in and then we put the body in, and then obviously we don't really normally dress them either unless
No.
there's some sort of chance that they'll be getting viewed at some point. We normally just put them in and lay the clothes over the top of them. But for the ones what are getting viewed, we never use the cardboard head stands inside. I mean, when there's been a chance that we have covered it, so you can't even tell. It just looks like a pillar. But what we used to use is, because when we did that, just a normal wood bottom. We put the headboard in, stapled in, and then what we do then is get like it's like a fluff roll type of thing. So you pull it out, and then you place that fluff into the bottom, and then you staple that in, and then after that you get a plastic sheet, and then you put the plastic sheet over the top, staple that in. That comes up the sides of the plastic sheet, and basically that just stops any body leakage going through the bottom of the coffin
before they get buried or burnt alive.
The juices.
It's all the same process, cremation or burial. It's all the same process. And then after that, what we used to do, what we used to do, believe it or not, is get like a normal plastic bag, right? And we used to fill it up with newspaper, right? And it sounds like a really cheap way, but I tell you what, it makes it so much of a difference to positioning the head in the coffin. And we used to put it scrolled up newspaper, put it in the bag, wrap it up, tie it, and then we wrapped it in fabric, right, and put that for the pillar, right. So obviously it just looks like a normal pillar, like that. Yeah. Looks exactly like that, but you won't know what's inside it. It's rolled up newspaper. And then what we used to do then is get, again, the fluff, just cut a tiny bit off, rolled that up, put it over the top of the head, and then two more longer bits what came down at the side of the head to the shoulders, right? And it just looked like a perfect pillar. and it just looked like they were sleeping. You would never know that it was just made out of freaking fluff and newspaper and a bag, right? It looked perfect. And then obviously if they're in a gown, the gown then gets stapled into the side, so it's completely flat, tight, pulled tight, so there's no crimples in it. But if they're in their own clothes, again, you know, you can't see the bag. We'll make sure you can't see the bag, because when they're in the coffin and we've got the thrill around, we move the thrill over the legs and keep moving it across, so it comes up into like a V shape going up like that.
Okay.
So obviously, and then obviously when it gets to the shoulders, we push the thrill behind the shoulders. So then it carries on, and then over the pillars and over the top. So it just looks like a nice, comfortable bed anyone could freaking wish for, and you would never know any difference behind it all. And that's what some funeral homes do. Some funeral homes use actual pillars, but again, for the solid oak coffins, the solid oak coffins actually do come with an actual pillar, because obviously you're paying a lot more. You're paying normally like £2,500 to £3,000 for the solid oak coffin, so you expect to get proper stuff with that. But yeah, so they come with an actual proper pillar, the solid oak ones, and they come with their own thrill as well. So obviously, if you get a certain type of colour, the thrill will match the type of colour the coffin is, and you know they all can get really, really nice. You know, and when you look at them, people are so amazed on how well you've presented their loved one to make them just look like they're sleeping in a bed. Well, no one truly understands unless you've got somebody like me who works in that field who will tell you exactly what goes on. You know.
Hello.
Demo coffee. What next? A portable cannon at the altar. Blast them into the grave. LSK. I did one of the hardest things I had to do from 7 years.
Couldn't do it. I wanted to remember him as I saw him.
We've got ours behind clicking laptop right now, sleeping away on.
That's how
He's a pet.
my great grandma was. She had a closed casket, and one of my, I guess, second cousin, my mom's cousin, he was like, "I want to see what she looks like." So he opened it and looked in there, and you know, and we were like, "Oh man, dude, is that okay?" You know, and he was just like, "Of course it's okay. I don't think she would be mad." And I was like, "Well, you know what? She probably wouldn't be mad. That's probably fine."
Probably stood over you laughing.
Right, so what'd she look like? And he's like, "Oh yeah, she looked really nice. She's wearing her favorite pajamas."
Yeah, we get a lot of that, you know. But mainly, what we noticed in the older population when we got them in was the guys always wore a suit. The family always brought suits in for some reason. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the older generation what love wearing suits. So obviously they always brought the suits in, and the women, it was always a cardigan, right, and a normal vest or a t-shirt with a long dress. Always. It was like we had one guy actually who was 65, 70 years old. He loved wearing tracksuit pants, so his family brought tracky pants in, trainers, baseball cap, and just a normal t-shirt. And he was like, "Really? Is this what we're really putting on?" Because the tracksuit pants had like paint all over him. He must have done like his work pants.
They were his favorite pants.
Around the house. But yeah, I mean, things you might just think, really, you put your loved one in that type of clothes, not anything nicer. But the thing is, that's how they want to remember him. You know what I mean? And that's up to the family. I think it's really, really nice.
You know, I
told a story of I told a story a while ago to the missus, and I said we had a couple,
hi Rachel,
and hi Rachel, and basically the guy's wife died first, and obviously they was married for like I think 75 years. I think they was married for, and his wife died first. Anyway, so
Wow.
We always, when that happens, we always put it down to heartbroken. Don't care if they had a problem or not. We always put it down. He died of heartbreak, and that's what it is. Because he couldn't bear living without her, and that's how we always put it down to. And he basically he was planning his funeral just before his wife passed away, actually, around about the same time as when they were planning for his missus. And he says, when I die, I want to be face down in the coffin. And
why?
we was like, really? Why do you want to do that? But you'll find out in a minute why he said that. So we got him in. We dressed him in a grey suit. It was his grey wedding suit because obviously his wife was buried in her old wedding dress, and he was in a grey wedding suit. So we put him face down, and obviously it wouldn't have been an open coffin then because no point. His family just said close him up straight away and then ready for the funeral. And the reason why he said he wanted to be face down is because he said out of 75
what?
You can't leave us hanging.
75, okay.
So that's the reason why he said I wanted to be face down.
We didn't hear after 75.
Me why. So yeah, that's the reason.
No, repeat
And I
it.
thought
We
that
didn't
is
hear
so
you. You froze.
sweet.
Repeat it, we didn't hear.
Oh,
after you
really?
said 75, it blacked out. Yeah.
I froze. I froze. They didn't
Jesus,
hear
you
me.
can't leave us
So
cliffhanging.
basically, the reason why he wanted to be face down in the coffin is because he said to us, out of 75 years of being married, he never shown his back to his missus. He never turned his back to his wife, and he wouldn't do it after death either. And that's why he wanted to be face down, because he was going to be buried on top of her. So obviously when he gets buried, he's still face to face with his missus, and that's why he wanted to be face to face. It sounds like a fairy tale story, but honestly, it was so
people are so
bloody sweet. And I
traditional.
tell you
I
what,
love
they
it.
were the sweetest couple I've ever met in my life. You know,
Yeah, that's
they
pretty unique.
had the ups and downs like every freaking marriage.
Don't
She
we all?
told him to shut up when he was talking too much. He told her stop nagging on and all that. You know, like couples do. But I tell you what, the love could never be as strong with them two.
75 years.
Because they were real. They
A
were real.
long time, isn't it? I've
It
been
is a
married
very
20.
long time. I think they were both in 90s, like late 90s, when they passed. I think his missus were 95 and he was 96 or something like that.
Yeah, it worries me about my husband's parents, because my father-in-law's just been diagnosed with vascular dementia, and obviously she's caring for him, but I can't see it lasting because obviously they get worse, don't they, as time goes on.
It gets
But
scary
I'm not
too.
sure
Really scary.
she's going to cope without him.
That's a terrifying disease to actually witness.
Horrible, Dan.
Especially
dementia.
people that you love.
It's all brain activity, doesn't it? That's
That
what it
have
does.
it.
Until
Well, you try to
you
talk to them and they don't know you,
He's such a clever man as well.
and they might even get angry at you.
Oh yeah, he
because
does.
they don't know
Really
you.
shitty.
Right? And that's a scary thing, because they can be like, oh, let me tell you a story, and then be like, who the fuck are you? Right?
Yeah. He forgets he's eaten and everything. He has absolutely no inkling of what's going. He's gone downhill so quickly this year
And they
because
can
obviously he's
get
not seeing
violent.
as many people because of COVID. Look.
Yeah,
horrible.
so it's like a proper true fairy tale love story.
Cute though.
You know, and I still get choked up about it now because you know it's just a really nice thing what you don't ever hear about. You know,
Not anymore.
because
do you?
normally old couples are like, oh, I don't care what happens to me. Once I'm dead, just shove me in ground and or burn me and I'm right. You know what I mean? That's what you get with most old
That's
couples.
the least of my worries when I'm dead.
With
Right?
them two, even after death, they made sure that they would never be, you know, I can't say that they'll always eternally face each other, even after death. It's crazy. So
Just cute.
yeah, but I mean, we had some really nice people come in, you know, and to be honest, because you know him from, because we had one lady, she buried her husband, and then a year later, she died. But she wanted a dying wish, wanted everybody who was on her husband's funeral, as in the workers, and to be on her funeral because she just loved them.
Wow.
You know, so I mean, I was on it. We had the same hearse drivers, we had the same hearse, we had the same funeral bearers. You know, because that's what she wanted. You know, because she says, "You guys did such a good job with me husband. I want you guys as well." You know what I mean? So we made sure everyone who was on her husband's funeral was on her funeral as well. Because I remember going picking her up. She died at home. Unfortunate. Same with her husband. He died at home as well. But yeah, you got some really nice. I mean, I was limo driver, so when her husband died, she was sat next to me. She was like flirting with me and all that. She kept on putting her hand on me, like saying,
So cheeky.
"You're all right, young man. Don't worry, I won't bite you."
I love it when they get old and they don't
Did you say, "Oh, behave"?
Be happy on a sad occasion, you know. But you couldn't help but laugh.
Yeah, baby.
And then her daughter went back with her husband, says, "You can give her a kiss, you know, she'll probably like that." I thought, I'm driving at the moment, but you never know. But she was such a sweet old lady. She actually gave us a £50 tip that day as well. Because sometimes we got tips off funerals. Some people don't do it, some people do. But she gave us a 50 quid tip. And she said, "Go and get a drink after this. You look like you bloody need it." I thought, I do. Sat next to you, holding me leg all the way.
Was her hand on your leg?
You know,
was her hand on your leg?
You can actually have a laugh with the family. You know, you can have a laugh with them, and it's nothing but banter. That's all it were, you know. And I think it's nice that you have a laugh, you have that banter with the family, and I think this is what I enjoyed most about the job, is that you get so connected to the family from the point where you go and pick the deceased up at home, or even if they go and pick them up from the hospital or anything like that, you're still attached to that family because you're working with that family then. You know what I mean?
And you have
such close partnership with the families. You know, it's actually nice because we had one, and he said, "Oh, it's you again." I went, "Yeah, it's me again." Says, "You came and picked me dad up, didn't you?" I went, "Yeah." It was the other day I picked your dad up. "Why can't you remember?" He said, "Oh, I can remember you just fine, kid."
It's just like, guys, like my grandpa, 2 years ago, we thought that he's gonna reach the 100 years.
Wow.
Because he was 98 years old. Yeah. So it's 98. So I was thinking long time, because I was born in that province. I said it that if my grandpa or anyone's died, I will go back to the province. But if nobody, I'm not going for all those years. But then after later, because a year, my grandpa was like, he was 50-50 already. So 98, we were thinking celebration, because here in the Philippines, if you reach the 100 years, the government will give you 100,000, which is pesos, you know. Will give you like $2,000, like that. Yeah. If you reach the 100K.
If you reach 100 in the UK, you get something from the Queen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you get a card from the Queen. Bless
That's
her husband,
better.
just missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It's not money, is it, LSK? What you get in the UK,
No,
but you do
you just
get
get
something from the Queen, like I think it's like a handwritten letter from the Queen herself,
it's a
framed,
commemorative letter with a
and the
card.
Queen purposely hands it to you when you get to 100. Yeah, that's
Gotta
what
get
you get.
there. Gotta get that Queen letter.
Well, funnily enough,
I'd rather take the money, me.
Grandma. Well, yeah, absolutely. Why would you want that?
So Prince Philip didn't get one of those letters from the Queen.
No, he didn't. He didn't get his letter from the Queen. It was card.
Did you not get
it? He's that close from getting that
Queen letter. 2 days before, didn't he?
Oh, really?
Like 2 days before his 100th?
Oh, that's why then. Didn't quite reach that 100.
No.
2 days
He
before
didn't get his commemorative letter.
You should have told him, hold on, you're going to get a letter from Queen, just hold your horses. I know you want to be with your family, but just bloody wait for a minute, will you? Just wait 2 more bleeding minutes.
So I remember what I said about the royal family, but
this is the
I changed my mind about Prince Philip because I really like him. I really liked Prince Philip.
They're very cheeky.
I didn't know very much about him until after he died, and I was like, I gotta figure out who is this guy, right? I don't even know who he is.
He held no bars, that man.
I like that guy. I like him.
He basically told people how it was, and that's why everyone loved him, because he wasn't shy to tell you exactly what his thoughts were, but he did it in a comedy type of way, where he's basically assaulting you, like insulting you, but you don't know because you just have a laugh with him.
I think they call that being.
Oh no, Prince Philip. He was very, very much loved in the UK. Prince Philip.
He was a good bloke, really.
He did a lot. I like him too.
Hell of a lot for young adults, which was lovely.
I'm like, at first, I don't give a fuck. It's a royal.
He did a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong. He was only the Queen's consort, right? So even when it come to royal meetings, he wasn't allowed to be in the chamber with his missus, right? But when it became family meetings, they even got said that the Queen always asked for his opinion.
Oh yeah,
always asked for his opinion. You know, she basically there was inseparable.
Uh-oh.
Oh no!
You know, if Marilyn Monroe never died, she'd be the same age as the Queen.
Seriously?
Yeah.
There we go. We're back.
You never think
he was
about
born the
it,
same year as the Queen.
Basically, it came out the other day that the Queen's already changed. I mean, you've just got to think about it. Her sister died a few years back, and then I think it was 4 or 6 weeks later, her mother died.
Yeah.
So she lost her 2 best friends there straight away, and all she had left was Prince Philip, and now he's gone. You know, she's got no one now. She's got no one to talk to, because who can the Queen talk to?
The dogs.
She can't exactly talk to her sons or anything like that, can they? You know,
she needs to make a YouTube or Twitch and start talking to the country.
God alive, can you imagine it?
No, she only does that when it's Christmas. But no, honestly, to be honest, I'll put money on it. Right? I don't think she'll stay on throne much longer now. I think she'll
you'll
step down.
find next year it'll be
Who
Charles.
takes over after
I think next year she'll step down, and well, this is the question now: will it be Prince Charles or will it be Prince William?
Be Charles. The way it goes is it's Charles for he has to serve a certain amount of years because of all the training he's done, and then it goes to Harry.
So it goes what? Sorry.
Then it goes to Harry after Charles.
Not William.
No, that's who I meant. William, not Harry, is it? Because Harry's a naughty boy.
No, Harry's the younger one, isn't it? No, see, I thought the way it is in royal law is anyone who's married an adulterer or a divorcee, like Charles has, right, he doesn't get the throne.
I think she's twisted it, to be fair.
Disqualified.
So for a long time, it's been said that Prince William will get the throne once the Queen steps down.
I bloody hope he does, because he's ace. I love him.
I mean, I hope it does, because I think Prince William and Catherine will make a really good king and queen.
Absolutely,
for that country.
she is lovely.
Because they're both loved all over the world, them two. You know what I mean? So, I mean, all over the world, yeah, people might like Charles, but at the end of the day is they don't like his wife.
No.
So you can't imagine them two being king and queen, can you? You know,
exactly.
you've got to...
He pissed off so many people with the whole Diana thing, and it's just like...
Yeah, exactly. You know, there was a lot of things what actually came to light what Charles did to Diana.
Didn't it bloody just? My godfather.
Because it was cheap. His message on Diana with the woman he's got now. That's why.
No, he's never stopped sleeping with her.
That's why Diana was murdered.
See,
well, this is a big conspiracy, innit? It always will be a conspiracy. But
he was murdered because there was a child involved that was brown, and they couldn't have a brown kid coming out in the royal family. They had to get rid of her.
Why do you think Meghan and Harry have dropped everything and gone to USA?
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't blame Harry.
And I believe it.
I've met Harry when I was in Afghan because our Bastion actually got attacked because Harry landed. And I met Harry in Bastion. Right? And I tell you what, he doesn't seem to be like a prince. He really doesn't. You know, he didn't even seem like to be an officer in the army. He just seems like your best friend who you've known for freaking years. That's really exactly the type of attitude he came out to you. It's exactly how he spoke to you. You know, and I tell you what, regardless what he's done, or what the others has done, or so on and so forth, whether you love him or you hate him, at the end of the day, he's a brother to me because he was a part of the armed forces and he fought for his country. You know,
absolutely, he wasn't afraid to do it either, was he?
No, he wasn't. The thing is, LSK, right? That was his first time out, and because he was supposed to go out 2 times before then, but the royal family wouldn't allow him to. They kept on saying, "No, you're not going." Anyway, something happened where basically they actually allowed him to go out that time, and I tell you, it was something he wanted to bloody do, and I didn't blame him. If you want to go and, I mean, look at Philip. He was part of World War II. You know, the other royal families was in some sort of battle. So why couldn't Harry go to Afghan? Because it was too dangerous. That's the way he looked at it for a prince to be part of.
Can't let him get hurt.
Come on, it's part of royal tradition. There's always a royal in war. It always has been.
Yeah, but they've always been protected. They've always been protected. They've always had
been protected, and I think that's what
them. You know, and if they got captured by the enemy, let's say in medieval times, you know, royalty would get captured and they would just get ransomed because they were worth money. They weren't killed, right? They would get captured and ransomed, and that was the most common practice in the medieval times, was actually for royalty to be captured and ransomed back to their families.
Yeah.
So I mean, royals have never really. They might be part of it, but they're not in danger.
The thing is, even though Harry went thingy, you're exactly right, Dan. Even though Harry went to Afghan, he was an Apache helicopter pilot. Whoa, no, he wasn't the pilot. He was the gunner in the Apache, and he was never in danger. You know what I mean? Even though Bastion did get attacked and it got breached and a lot of freaking vehicles and weaponry and fuel went up, you know, even if they captured him, where would they have gone? They're surrounded by over freaking 20,000 soldiers.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they wouldn't have gone far. The only thing they would have done, right, they wouldn't have bothered capturing to keep him. They would have captured him to kill him. And that's what they would have done, because they went in with a suicide mission anyway.
Right.
You know, that was the whole role of it, and they actually succeeded with that. They all died, but you know, that was the main goal, to get into Bastion and kill Prince Harry. But let's face it, right? Even though he wasn't looked after like he does when he's going out on these royal visits, like with security around, it's not like that in war. You know, you're a soldier.
You know, you look after each other's back. You just cut around. I think you don't have security walking around with you. You know what I mean? Right. So, but yeah, I totally agree where you're coming from. But the thing is, I think if Harry wanted to go to Afghan, he should have been let to go to Afghan first time round. You know, he should have served his country for something he wanted to do. He was a British officer in the British Army, and he holds the title to go to war like every other person below him.
Yeah.
You know, regardless if he holds royal signature or not, it doesn't matter. He wears a uniform, and he's a soldier. That it doesn't matter what rank you are, you're all soldiers. And a soldier's job is to defend Queen and country and to look out for each other's backs. And that's what he wanted to do, and that's what he did manage to get to do. But he only spent, I think he did half of his tour, because that was the arrangement, what they agreed. So out of, I think, for Apache pilots, I think it's 2 months tours for Apache pilots. I think he only did a month out there. But, you know, he did it, and that's what he wanted to do, and good on him for doing it. You know, I mean, a lot of people don't like his missus, but at the end of the day we don't know 100% what happens behind back doors. You know, everything she could be saying is the truth, but because everyone enjoys and likes the royal family, they choose not to listen to it. So we don't know. You know,
I thought Harry was all right. I thought Harry was all right until he came out with he kind of became a social justice warrior and just started like, what do you call it? You know, what do you call it when people
spit it out, Dan?
Sing their own praises. They sing their own praises, right? Look how good of a person I am, right? Gosh, I'm trying to think. The social justice warrior thing.
I agree with most things, but that was just Harry. That was his personality. It's like, look at me. Look how many times.
Turned him.
Look how many times he got told off by his grandmother, the Queen, because he was in London city centre going to nightclubs and that drinking.
See, there's a big thing about that, because apparently he was covering William's ass.
Yeah, no, but look, he was a young lad. He's enjoying himself. He might hold the prince title, but there's people saying that the princes can't enjoy themselves. Seriously? You know, he's a young lad. Obviously, back then, he wants to be freaking seen. I'm the prince. I'm not saying no one on this chat, if you was the prince or the princess, you're not going to strut around wherever you live and say, you know what? I'm the fucking prince. Who are you? I'm not having no one will do that, because I'll tell you what, I would. You know what I mean? I'll freaking love it in me. I'll be all over that shit. You know what I mean, though? But I do strongly think that obviously his missus, when she said about she was suffering with mental health, and due to all that, I do strongly believe that. And to be honest, because the royal family didn't like her, they didn't give her the help she needed.
No, right? they very much pushed her aside, didn't they?
About it, they didn't like Diana either. And look what Diana is. So when she was saying, freaking, she's scared for her life.
History repeating itself.
Alarm bells are going all the way back to Diana's time as well. You know what I mean? Is there not something what's happening in Buckingham Palace what no one knows about, and she did, and that's why she's scared for her life?
If your face don't fit.
But because she's a model before she became princess, no one fucking believes her. You know, I don't know. They always say the royal family is the most secretive family in the world, and it's true.
Absolutely.
The only reason they're
royal is
because they were rich a long time ago. Let's be honest. The only thing that made the king is because they had the money. The only thing that made the royals is because they had the money. That's the only thing that makes them special, is because they're rich, right?
Well, back in the day, when the kings became kings, when the first ever king became a king of England, it's because he had the power. That's what it were. If you had the power, you became the ruler.
You have the power because you have the money
and that's how it stayed all the way through.
Right. If you have the money to pay the armies, you have the power.
Yeah.
Because you keep your population in check with violence. That's how you do it. I mean, because people are fear controls people, not opportunity.
Yeah, totally agree with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think there's. But the thing is, I think they've gone about it the wrong way because they kept on saying about the media and all that are poison, and they've done all this and all that. But yet they go to the media to tell them this. It's like, really, you can't say that they've got a problem with media, and then you go into the media to, well, chat shows and say it all because it's going to go back in the media again. So
of course it is. It just stirs it up
with
again.
That, I think they've gone about it the totally wrong way. But yeah, again, they're young people. They're only my age.
They also
a bit older than
as well,
me, but
the difference of 15, 20 years between me and you is you've had social media for a massive part of your life. So it's normal.
From the moment you're born, you've got media surrounded you.
You know?
You know, even through pregnancy, you've got media around you. You just don't know because you're inside your mum's stomach. You know? So, yeah, you can understand if you've got media 24 hours a day trying to get every bit of livelihood you've got in your body. You know, at the end of the day, Harry's a human being. There's only so much he'll be able to take. But I do strongly suggest he's gone about it the wrong way by doing what he's done. And with that, I'll stand by and say, yeah, he's done it the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm not sure cutting everybody off was a very sensible thing to do.
Well, no, but the thing is, if he doesn't agree, it's like anybody. I've not agreed with what my family did to me, so I've cut them off. So, again, he's a human being.
Absolutely. We've all got feelings eventually.
If he even said it, basically, if being a royal is like this, I don't want any part of it. That's why he's thrown his royal out of the way. You know, he's not classed as a prince anymore. No. Because he's took that. I mean, he's sacrificed his military duties. You know, he can't wear or be part of the military anymore. And he sacrificed that. So the thing is, the military meant a lot to him, right? And for him to throw away something like that for something must have happened. You know, and I'm not saying they're harmless. I'm not saying they've not done wrong. I'm not saying that. They possibly have done something wrong. But there's always two sides of every story, and it's the other side you will never hear of. I think Meghan and Harry are the only ones what's actually come out and said it. And this is why the family's cut them off. Because if they didn't cut them off, people will then automatically think, hang on, is there not more to this story? You know? 7 Ways put Tom, she's playing on her status. She got pissed off because she wouldn't toe the line with how the royal family operate and thought she could do as she pleased as wed-in princess. Yeah, I agree. I can see how you would say that comment. But again, you know, she had her own life to lead as well. You know, she was a model. She was an actress. You know, just because you're princess, do you have to throw all that away, do you? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, but do you though? It's like, do you have to put your life on hold because you become princess title? Diana didn't do that.
I don't want her being a fucking model and shit anymore. I mean, dude.
No, but it wasn't like.
I don't want anybody looking at my wife.
Harry was supporting his missus. You know, Harry was doing the thing what every husband should do, and that's support his missus. You know, but if you look at Diana did everything she loved. You know, she still went around the world and cared for the people she wanted to do. So there's no difference, and I think that's why Harry will stand by her, because I think Harry knows what happened to his mother. I really do. And I think that's why it was Harry's decision to move back to America. I really do, because it was Harry's decision to do that. It wasn't Meghan's. Meghan just wanted to get away from the royal family.
He's not even. I don't even think he can. I think they cut him off, didn't they? Like he can't be the. He can't be. He's not royalty anymore, right? Am I right? Didn't they just completely cut him off?
He's still part of the royal family, so if it's his family,
like for
example, Philip's funeral, he went there. But I don't think he's classed as a prince anyway. He's thrown that entitlement.
No, he's got no royal duties, has he?
Yeah,
anymore?
I think they stripped.
No, he's not got royal duties anymore. So, but doesn't that just give red flags to everything?
Of course it does. But what can we do about them?
Well, there's nothing we can do, and that's why the royal family can get away with anything and say whatever they want, and everyone believes it.
Yeah.
You know, I think out of all, like I said, out of all the faults Harry and Meghan has, I do think, right, they're onto something, you know, and they wanted to say what they wanted to say. And I think regardless if you hold the royal entitlement or not, I think everyone has the power of free speech. You know, and that's the reason why he did free speech, and he told people what exactly is going off, and the royal family's not like that. That's why they've chucked him away. You know,
because they're closed off. They don't like talking about personal stuff like that.
No, they don't. No. You know.
But if you're going to be a royal, all eyes are on you. It's kind of you're giving up your private life. I mean, that's what it is, right? Like
she did have that choice, but then she also never looked into what it consisted of.
Well, no, she didn't. No, you're right. She didn't. I don't think she knew exactly what having a princess role actually meant, to be honest. I really don't. But yet again, I don't think she's any different to what Diana did, and Diana knew exactly what the princess role was. But that wasn't standing in the way of what she wanted to do by helping people.
But Diana was just there to provide the children, wasn't she?
Well, yeah. But again, that wasn't part of the royal duties. That was just her being caring, and that's the type of person she was. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't think the royal family liked it, because she was always getting away, doing what she wants away from the royal duties, what she's supposed to have been doing. But the thing is, with Diana, she did everything. Absolutely everything. And this is why the people loved her. She was the people's princess, she's nicknamed.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Seven Ways. He says that I'm surprised you think that way. But because he says it's her that wanted to run back to the U.S. and gave Harry an ultimatum, either come with me or stay with the family. And he went with her, right? He gave him that ultimatum. Right? She made him choose.
Let's be fair. Look at her, wouldn't you?
She's pretty good looking.
Well, originally,
of course, you're a prince.
Right,
they're interchangeable.
She just wanted to get away from the royal family, so originally they moved to Canada, and it was Harry what actually said, "Let's move to America."
Canada wouldn't provide them security, and they thought the Canadian government was supposed to pay for their security, right? When they went to Canada, they were like, we should have like armed guards and an army around us, right? And Canada was like, well, are you gonna pay for that? You're gonna pay for a private security company to take care of you guys, right? Yeah. Like you have it over in the UK, and they're like, no, it should just be because we're royals. And it's like, you're not anymore. We don't have to give you any of that.
Right? I totally agree.
The security. They said, no, we're not just gonna give you security. Right? Yeah. Look it up. That's true.
Yeah. I totally agree with you.
Because they could actually get security.
Yeah, but it was that reason they actually went to Canada first, and it was Harry's decision to go back to her own home city, or where I think LA is it, where she was originally from. That was Harry's choice to do that, but originally she just wanted to get away from the royal family, which is why they went to Canada first. You see, so. But I totally agree with Seven Ways. You know, like I said, she's not all innocent, and neither is Harry. I'm not pretending that they are, But at the end of the day is, they've got free speech, they're young, you know, why can't they do what they want?
Yeah.
You know? Even now, he's still in the limelight, and he's not even got the role title anymore.
No.
It's because there's too many nosy people out there.
Limelight for it, and I thought, why? You know, he's no better than everybody else now in the world. Is everyone else getting filmed and freaking getting news freaking broadcasts on them? Are they fucking bothered?
He's always going to be a celebrity, no matter what. I mean, he's always going to be a celebrity.
Well, she's always got the celebrity status anyway, hasn't she?
Right, and her too.
You know, so yeah.
Well, even if they did get divorced, he's always going to be a celebrity.
But like I said, I think there's just as much wrong on the royal family side than there is on Meghan and Harry's side as well. You know, I think there is, and like I said, they didn't like Diana because of what Diana was doing, and yet that never stopped her. And to be honest, I think it's took its toll that the royal family didn't like Meghan because of her ways, and that Harry knew what happened to his mother, you know, and he didn't want the same thing happening to his wife. You know?
Yeah.
Can't blame him, can you?
That's another way to look at it, yeah.
But yet again, who knows the truth? Only the royal family, and no one ever will find out exactly what's gone on. I mean, Harry can say as much as he wants, but will people believe him? Will they fucking bollocks?
Of course they won't, because there's always going to be somebody else that goes, oh, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they won't believe him because obviously he's the one who's left. You know what I mean? They'll always believe the hierarchy of the family. Whether you're a normal family, or you're a royal family, or you're a celebrity family. Someone will always believe the hierarchy of the family. It's just the way it plays out. You know, unfortunately.
Most Brits think Charles
isn't
Harry's father anyway.
It's James Watts' his chops, isn't it?
James Watts.
No, I can't
Most
remember his
Brits think Charles isn't Harry's father. Oh, really?
Hang on, I've got to think of the next. James Hewitt. Because she was.
Don't they look like almost identical though?
Oh yes. But if you look at Diana's brother, he's also very much her side of the family.
So incest, or are you saying incest?
Well, I think, guys, we're going to end it because you get, what, 20 hours a month, and it says here 18 hours, 17 minutes, so it means I've only got like an hour and 20 minutes left.
Oh, damn.
Free 20 hours a month. So, yeah, we're going to end it, guys, but we appreciate LSK and Dan for joining us on panel.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was a good chat, as always.
Take care.
And if we can still go live on this, we will do. But if not, we'll just be normal chat through YouTube. So, yeah, but appreciate it, guys. Much appreciated coming in, and as well as Seven Ways, Bill, and everyone else who came into chat. Rachel, who else came in chat? Heaven. And I think that was it. Oh,
Mimi, and Lazada. Thank you for the donation. Thank you.
Yeah, the Lazada. Thanks for the donation, guys. And thanks to the lurkers as well. We know the lurkers are there. So, yeah, until next time, guys, much appreciated. Thanks again for joining us on panel. Stay safe. As always, we do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Trivia tomorrow. Study up, guys.
All right. See you around.
All right. See you later, guys.